morning. It's Laura with Eastside Staffing here. I hope you're having a great start to your morning. Okay, so this week I have been talking a lot with my peers in talent acquisition and candidates about giving and receiving feedback. So this is one of those things I think we have to question a little bit further and really peel back the layers of the onion on. So if you look online about what everybody says about ghosting and wanting feedback from employers, hiring managers, recruiters, you'll often see people say they want to be rejected over the phone, they don't want an email, they certainly don't want a generic email, and that all recruiters should be calling every single applicant and candidate to reject them. So that's kind of what we were taught in recruiting over the decades, and that's sort of what is still considered best practice. But over the last week or so, I have been discovering that there are a lot of sort of challenges with that. So on one hand, recruiters are often really nervous to give feedback over the phone because, frankly, recruiters, many of them are emotional creatures who find this to be a hard thing to say. So if there's somebody who made it to final rounds, that candidate is pumped about the role, and you have to make the call to say they didn't get it, it can be rough. So I know a lot of my peers in recruiting this week who have been in tears over that call and shaking through the whole thing, and it's really rough. So look, we're working on training recruiters on how to best give that feedback. Also, in terms of receiving feedback, and I am not a neuroscientist, but if you read about the amygdala and the brain's reaction to perceived threat, sometimes when we get a phone call, we don't expect to get something that we perceive as negative feedback. We have that reaction of immediate, like kind of fight, flight, freeze, where either we're gonna get a little defensive, a little angry. It's not always very pleasant, frankly, to receive feedback that you don't expect, that's not necessarily what you would consider positive or happy feedback. So the last week or two, I've been experimenting with asking candidates what they would prefer. So I'll say to them, when I receive feedback from the hiring manager, do you want that feedback over the phone, or would you prefer to receive it first via email? You're always more than welcome to call me after you receive the email, but what would be better for you to process receiving feedback? And do you know what? Almost all of them have said they would prefer email because it would give them the privacy and the space to digest whatever's in that content, and then we can always talk after. And I thought, wow, we've been saying for years that candidates want phone calls, but I'm asking, and they may not. So what would it look like this week if we all thought about how do we best want to receive or give feedback? What makes us feel more comfortable as candidates or as recruiters, and how can we communicate with each other so that we can reduce that tension and anxiety that seems to come from this topic and figure out ways where both parties have a chance to digest, process, discuss it calmly, and kind of get out of that reactive mode into more of a constructive, hopefully actionable feedback mode. So let me know your thoughts, but let's just kind of take some time to ponder this topic a little bit further. Have a great rest of your day.